It does seem as if that economic prospects for the Eurozone are deteriorating, and the energy crisis is only going to worsen in the coming days when we see the temporary shutdown again of Nord Stream 1. What do you make of some of the measures that have been announced to save energy across Europe and in countries like Germany? Are they going to have a material impact? I think Band-Aid over axe wound comes to mind.
Right. Well, I mean, that's an interesting visual. I would say what we're currently seeing is that every country is trying to do what it can to make sure that we can get through winter relatively unscathed. And what I would say, if we currently look at gas reserves building up, then what we're seeing is that we're looking at making targets at this point. It's actually looking better than what we initially expected. So the race towards October, when we're trying to fill gas reserves as much as we can, is currently happening better than what we initially expected, but it's happening at a much higher price than we expected as well. At current rates, it's just going to have an incredible impact on inflation again, on producer prices. And that in itself is already going to curb demand somewhat. But what we're seeing is that it's likely that we're going to get through winter without significant shutdowns. But what we are expecting is that it will already have a profound effect on economic activity through the price channel that we're currently seeing.
And of course, all of this also complicates the outlook for the ECB, which is struggling to contain inflation, running well above target. Does any of this change your view on what the ECB does in September?
No, I think that for September, we already have a pretty clear-cut view on that we're going to see another 50 basis point hike. That means that the ECB will get up to 0.5% on the deposit rate. And the ECB seems pretty adamant on raising rates quite quickly now. Before we're starting to see the more harmful effects of this energy crisis on the economy itself. And as we're starting to see the first numbers come in that are already looking pretty bleak for Q3, it looks like the ECB has a very narrow point in time in which they can still raise rates. So what we're expecting is that after that 50 basis point hike in September, the ECB will start a long pause. So is that a hike cycle? I don't think you can even call it that.